Welcome to this wonderful video. Today I'm going to show you how to match records. Now we have two tables. One is the ID and the other one is the cells. So there are some IDs which are in this table here that are not in this table. And there are some that are in the second table but not in the first. So our objective is to find records that are not matching. Is what we're going to do. I'm going to show you two ways of doing it. One is using Excel formulas. The second is using the pivot query, the Power Pivot. So let's get started. So what I want to do is find out whether there are some records which are here, but not in the first one. So there are different ways of doing it. And one of the methods you can use the VLOOKUP or you can use the match function. So, but in this case, I'm gonna use the match function. Now, briefly, what the match function does, it takes a lookup value. What value are we looking up in? Takes a lookup array. In which array are we looking it up? And then you tell it whether you want an exact match or an approximate match. And it will give you a result, and that result will be the position of where it has located that value. So in this case, my lookup value, I want to look up this 21, comma, my lookup array, where do I want to look it up? I want to look it up in this range of values. Now, again, more importantly, if I'm going to copy my formula down, I need to lock it so that when I copy, it is not disorganized here. So this array, I need to press Shift F4 to lock it like that. And the next is an exact match. And then I close my bracket. So when I do that and I say, okay, it returns NA, meaning that it has looked for 21, and rightly so, as we can see, there is no 21 here, therefore it returns NA. Okay, let's copy it down and see whether we can find any value right there. Now, it tells me that here, it looked up 23 in this range here, and what did it find? It found it in position 3. 1, 2, 3. That's why it gives us 3. It looked up 24 in this array and found it at position 4. Like so. So that's what it has done. So it has found some values at position 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So the others which are in A, it has not found those values. So to remove these NA, we can use ISNUMBER function and enclose it in the outside of the match function. So ISNUMBER is a function which returns true if it is a number and returns false if it is not a number. So in our case here, NA will return false because it's not a number. Like you can see here, right as I do it, the first one is false. The second one, as you guess, will be false. The third one is true. And I drag so you get the idea. So the ones which are not in this data set, if this one here is not in this data set, I return false. And if it is there, I return true. Like 23 is here and here, it returns true. So the next step, which we can do, is filter this data to whatever we want. Do we want values which are not showing in this second table? If the answer is true, then we do like so, and it will automatically show us that these values are in the second table, but they're not in the first table. And these values are in the first table, but they're not in the second table. So this is a way to find whether different datasets has matching values or it doesn't have. This is one of the things which is common as you do your work. So remember to use the match function to do this kind of work. The second approach that I'm gonna use to match these people, I'm going to use Power Query. What I'm gonna use is not a Power Pivot, but a Power Query. So the Power Query is an add-on if you have earlier versions of Excel 2010 and 2013, but if you have later versions of Excel, it is incorporated within the Excel 2016 and above. So I'm using it as an add-on. So it's an add-on which is free. You can download from the Microsoft website and you add it on. So let's see how we can go about the same problem using the Power Query. Now, I have the same set of data here. This one has IDs and cells, and this one also has IDs and cells. And I'm interested in finding out what is in one table and not in the second, what is in the second and not in the first, and what is in both tables. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm using Power Query. So the first thing you have to do is to change this data set into a table. So to do that is quite simple. Click on Insert and click on Table here because I've already converted it. So it is not, doesn't allow me to select it again because my data is already a table. So after doing that, when you go to design, you'll see I gave it a name called First Table. Then I went to the second table, I did Insert, clicked on Table, converted it into a table, and when you see the name, it is quite right here. It is second table. So now that we have our table set up, we click on the Power Query. If you have it as an add-on like myself, you click on Power Query. If not, in the latest versions, you have to go somewhere where on the tab where it shows Get Data. So let's see how to do it. So my data is in a table form. So I click from table or range. I'm clicking on the first table, then go to Power Query, and from table range. When I do that, it runs its formulas and it presents to me this data here. So what am I gonna do? What I'm gonna do is to first create a connection between these two tables. After get those connections, match the tables. After matching them, find the values that are missing in one table, but they're in another table. So what I do, put a connection, I'll click there, load, and it gives me this dialog which says load to, and it gives me an option, load it to a table or just do a or only create connection. This is what I want. So I say only create connection and click on load. Wonderful. So my first table is connected. Then go to the next table and do the same thing. So Power Pivot, load it into Power Pivot, then unload it. But as you unload it, put a connection and say load that into a connection. So as you see here, we have table 2, table 1. Earlier on, I had made something similar. That's why you're seeing these ones here, which I'm gonna delete because I do not want them. So now, after that, I'm using these two. I click on the first table, then I have to merge these two tables in Power Query. So do that, click on merge or come here. You can also go to the same merge right here. So, but I'm gonna use this one up here under Power Query, then merge. So the moment I do that, up here, I'm merging the first table. This is what is in the first table. Then I'm merging it to this table here, and this is what is in the second table. I want to arrange them by this. Already here, it is telling me selection has 8 matches out of 13, saying 8 records have matched, but the others have not. Now, join here, there are different kinds of joins. There's a left join, which says all from the first matching the second. That's what it will show you. The right join will get all from the right that are matching the first. But I'm going to go with this full outer join, which shows me from both tables. So I say, okay, okay, there you go. Then I click here, and what I want to do is expand and see what is happening right here. Now, as you can see, these records here, 54, 52 are in the second table, but they are null in the first table, meaning that they're not in the first table. Then when I come down here, I see values in the first table and also the same values in the second table. Then when you come here, you see again nulls. These ones are not, these values are not, they're in the second table, but they are not in the first table. And right down here, we have other values in the first table, but they are nulls in the second table. So if I'm here and I've done this, I'm ready to load my data. Go down here, load to, brings this table, dialog here. This time I want to load the table, not the connection. And because I need some room, or I can also do it right here. I can put it on a new sheet, or I can use the existing sheet. But for comparison purposes, let me use an existing sheet. Then we can easily compare our tables in the same sheet. Otherwise, you can use a new sheet. So I'm going to select existing sheet. Then where do I want this to start? I want it to start right here in G2 and say, okay. When I do that, I say load. It does the merging and it gives me a result here. So let's see what it has given us. Trying to create room to see it on my same data set here. But as I told you, you can put it on a different table. So let's see what we're getting. And remember, this is my first table. And then this one is my second table. And these are my results. So what do the results show me? They show me that ID 54 and 52 are in table 2, as you can see on the table here, on top here, but they are not in table 1. Now, these ones here are in both tables. These ones, 41, 43, and 44 are in the second table, but not in the first. And when I scroll down, I see those other values in the first table, but not in the second table. So this way, now I can do what I want. I can say, okay, filter out maybe by ID. So if I have zeros here, I know that if I have a value, I know that these ones are matching. So I want the ones which don't have values and come here and filter out the blanks and say OK. So when I have no value here, that means they are in the first table. And since, so you can easily see that these ones are in the second table, but they are not in the first. And you can do the opposite, the other side. You come here and unclick everything, look for the blanks in the second table, but they're in the first table. So this way you can easily match your values, finding them in one table and not in the other table, and also those that are in both tables. That's all I have for you today. Please, thank you for watching, and please subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. See you in the next video and have a great